And Ludwig joins us now to discuss. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, Hayden.
Glad to be with you. Thank you.
So tell us what's going on behind the scenes here. You know, we know obviously about Mark Zuckerberg and his Zuckerbucks, but what's really going on behind the scenes?
Well, we're talking about the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, which is one of these big liberal mega donors. And look, this is how the left weaponizes America's charitable sector for partisan gain. You mentioned George Soros and the Ford Foundation. That's true. What most people don't know is the left has dozens of mega donors just like these that use America's nonprofits to fund political causes all over the country.
Hayden, I want to ask you specifically about, and you wrote an excellent article, by the way, the Big Philanthropy is not America's friend, about the perversion of so-called philanthropy, because this is clearly political operating rather than philanthropy. But one quote in particular from your article I want to show the audience: conservatives or moderates, really anyone who isn't a Marxist, need to know what they're up against. Too few realize that the professional left in this country is the best funded, most coordinated political machine in the world, thanks to the weaponization of America's generous nonprofit sector. So Hayden, I'd like you to explain, how has the political left been able to use the nonprofit sector as the vehicle to become the best funded political machine on earth?
Yeah, really, I think that would make the Soviet Union blush. Look, I mean, we think philanthropy, we think of helping widows and orphans and the poor. But reality, when the left thinks philanthropy, it's masquerading as politics, actually, is what it wants to do. I mean, look at what Silicon Valley Community Foundation and others are funding. We know that they're giving grants to groups that support critical race theory, social justice causes, trying to teach things like systemic racism in our schools. They've given grants to environmental groups like the Natural Resources Defense Council, or agitation groups that spread lies like Media Matters for America. They've even granted money to the Obama Foundation. So I think our former president, for drawing attention to dark money, his own organization seems to be benefiting from these dark money big tech billionaires.
So what power do we have on the right, Hayden?
Well, the power to expose. I mean, look, here's the reality is the left knows that it's going to be able to change policy, not by moving through the two political parties. That's where all the attention is. In reality, it can move billions of dollars through nonprofits. It doesn't have to disclose their donors. It's difficult to find where a lot of that money goes through. And what are they doing with all that money? They're changing our country's policies. They're changing the outcome of elections. They're helping elect Democrats. You mentioned Mark Zuckerberg. He's one of the top donors to this organization. Zuckerberg gave $350 million to a little-known Chicago organization called the Center for Technology and Civic Life, which passed that $350 million to local elections officials in order to support absentee ballots, basically to help Democrats give an advantage in the 2020 election. So we know this is a partisan cause.
Hayden, anyone who's watched this show certainly knows about exactly what Zuckerberg did, because we've talked about it extensively. It was really a corporate takeover of the public government, election operations of swing states. But I want to ask you for, I think, a relatively simple, I'm not going to say it's a complete fix, but something that would help this situation. Political donations have to be made with after-tax dollars, okay? You cannot deduct a political donation. These folks are making a so-called charitable donation, which is deductible. At the least, shouldn't Republicans champion that for 2022 and then into 2024, hopefully we have a Republican Congress, Republican president, that these foundations who are clearly engaging in political activities should be taxed? Does that make sense, Hayden?
Well, I think it should absolutely be considered. I mean, anything that's funding, for example, voter registration. This is not nonpartisan. Who thinks of registering voters as a philanthropy cause? They don't. What I think they should do is they should consider a ban on this sorts of activity. Or at the very least, look at the organizations that are bankrolling this and see, are they actually benefiting causes that the average American on the street would consider charitable? Or are they really an arm of the Democratic Party? Are they really a tool of a handful of big tech billionaires in California to change policy in states that they've never even visited, for crying out loud?
Understood. Well, listen, Hayden, thank you so much for your insights tonight. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.